Hey, Shauna, when you see models on Instagram or anywhere, do you think they've all had like Botox and surgery and all kind of other stuff done?
That is such an interesting question. And our guest today, Hillary Bitar, who is a pro aging 60 plus natural model, has a lot of insights for us.
I can't wait. And before we dive in, I want to give a shout out to our Girls Talk Healthy Aging listener, Miss Latasha Renee. Thanks so much for listening and supporting Girls Talk Aging, Healthy Aging. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, where we dive deep into pressing health and fitness issues facing aging women. I'm Allie Kerr.
And I'm Shauna Kaminsky. And together we'll bring candid conversations, expert advice, and personal stories that will inspire and empower you on your own wellness journey.
Hillary, it is so great to have you on the podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm very excited about this. Looking forward to it.
Well, you and I are Instagram friends. We have been for years. And
yes,
I know a little bit about you and your history, but our listeners definitely want to know a little bit about how long you have been in the modeling industry.
Okay. So I'm 62 and I got back into the modeling industry when I turned 50. I did some modeling when I was a teenager, but back then in the late 70s, there was a very specific look for models in the United States. You had to be blonde, blue-eyed, very, very skinny, a very specific look. And all of the top agencies were just kind of looking at me saying, you have sort of an exotic look. We're not really sure what to do with you. I had very dark hair, hazel eyes, freckles. So I kind of did a little modeling on the side, but kind of gave it up. And then at 50, I was more or less discovered, let's say. I went on a casting for a Zumba commercial, but it was to be a dancer. I was referred by my Zumba teacher, and I got the job, not realizing that it was actually a modeling job, and I did need to dance as well. So from that day forward, they hooked me up with agencies, photographers, and said, look, the modeling industry has changed a lot in, almost 40 years. And your look is unique, but now it's something that's what they're looking for. And that was my first step into it. And from there, it's connections. Once you get signed with an agency, then you start working. And I was at the time, I really just turned 50. My hair was, of course, long and gray. And it was a little bit more unique then. I think that now, 12 years later, there's way more models who have gray hair at all different ages. It's still different than for the majority of women, but the industry has continued to change and to evolve into accepting different types of looks, which is fantastic. It really has opened up a lot. Thank goodness.
Yeah, that is a very good thing, to be more inclusive and representative
Yes.
of the female population. So given that, you're now in your 60s, is your
Yes.
age, is it an asset or a hindrance to getting jobs?
So, I mean, realistically, modeling is still for the youth, but advertising continues for all ages. So I think that women have to be realistic when they talk about modeling in your 50s and 60s. It's very rare that you're going to see them in magazines doing fashion, beauty. It's starting a little bit, but it's a little more what we call commercial or lifestyle. You might be in an ad for a hotel and you might be booked as the grandmother because you're in your 50s or 60s. You might have little kids with you. You might be on an ad for insurance or a medical product. It isn't always about the beauty and fashion industry because that's slowly making some changes, but it's a different business. So for me now in my 60s, it's actually been a little bit more challenging than when I was in my 50s, because now I'm sort of in between. My competition as a gray-haired model, there's many women who are 50 with gray hair. And then you sometimes want someone who's older, who's a little bit towards their 60s and 70s, who represent the classic mature model. So sometimes you can fall in the middle. And it's a challenge. It's a challenging business no matter what age you're in. And I tell you this, if it's about your daughter who's, 17 and wants to do it, you have to have a very tough skin because it's filled with rejection for the few things that you do get excited and get the booking for. So it's been tough. I mean, you have to be willing to really stick it out and believe in yourself that you have something to offer, something unique.
And not personalize when you don't get a job.
Right. You have to understand that sometimes the client can love your look, you're perfect, but maybe you were part of a couple and they liked the way someone else looked. Maybe someone decided, no, we're going in a completely different direction, and a blonde-haired, blue-eyed model booked it. Well, you can't compare yourself to that. It isn't as though they picked a similar version. I mean, that does happen sometimes, but quite often it's someone completely different, shorter, taller, heavier, thinner. And it's a creative team. And advertising is very subjective, like photographs. What someone loves, another one doesn't. So it's a whole team of people. If all the puzzle pieces fit, you book it. And if not, you have to just say, okay, you weren't right for that, on to the next. But I mean, we're human. We also, we feel it. It's like, oh man, I really wanted that, or I thought I was perfect. But for whatever reason, it just wasn't right at the time. You have to move on.
So Hillary, do you see a future? Like, do you see yourself modeling, through your 60s? Do you see an end point? You're enjoying it? What do you see for yourself?
So I am enjoying it. I love a challenge, and I think it continues to be more and more challenging. I do see the industry changing, and I think that there is opportunity. Yes, I mean through my 60s for sure. Because again, you pay attention to commercials on TV, you're going to see a lot of different ages, a lot of different types of women represented. It's my hope that more companies will be open to using more mature models in everything, and not just in the traditional role, because I think women would really like to see someone they can relate to, even if we don't look the same. I know for myself, and I don't know whether that's because I'm in this business or not, but I don't always want to see someone who looks the age of, my son's girlfriend. I'm not, whether it's clothing, whether it's food, I would like to see some people in my demographic. And I think more and more women would like to, because I see it on social media, the support that companies get when they are using relatable models versus, okay, I'm tired of seeing, a 25-year-old promoting, a menopause supplement. Like, be real, like, okay, there might be a few women like that, but let's get ones who are relatable and whatever that means to them, whether it's body type, looks, hair, fashion, anything, exercise, all of that.
And we need to look at women that are different ages, not women that are younger than us, and just look at what they're doing. That's another challenge.
And that's something I'm really hoping will also, that's I think the last piece in the change for advertising. You will rarely, if ever, see a mature woman in a fitness ad. And I think it's such a mistake. And it's funny because the only thing, I don't know anyone in my age group from all of my model friends who are quite fit that ever get booked for any sort of fitness ad. They might be in yoga. There's always a lot of yoga for my age range. But you'll never see, I've rarely, if ever, seen anyone, advertising for running, for weightlifting, just something it's very like what I call it with the quote, senior fitness, with a chair. And I'm like, that's fine. I understand. But there are a lot of people in their 50s, 60s, even 70s who are 80s? Doing CrossFit, who are lifting some weights. And wouldn't you like to see someone advertising leggings in a gym who is like really fit, and you'd be like, wow, she's my age,
Yes, I know.
We would love that. Who do we need to talk to make that happen?
Right. I'm like, I'd like to see someone my age advertising clothes or products. You look, you search on the website for protein powders, for creatine. They're all young. I'm like,
Yeah.
There's a lot of women older who are taking all these products, and
or would if
Or,
if
yeah,
they,
yeah.
if
Or
they
would,
saw you
yeah.
taking creatine, they'd be like, maybe I should. But they're just going to see the bros.
The bros.
Exactly.
Yeah, the bros. Hillary, that's a question our ladies like to know is what do you take any supplements? And if so, on a regular for over a long period of time, and what are they?
So I do take creatine since we mentioned it.
Yes, we mentioned
and
it.
I've been taking it for a year, and it's probably the only supplement that I've really been taking. I started about 6 months ago with amino acid tablets as well, but creatine is the main one that I will stick with, and it definitely helps improve with strength if you're strength training. But you need to be working out, otherwise it's not
right. Don't take it.
I mean, you need to be on a weight lift and I call it a weightlifting program. You need to be actively working out for it to work. But I do think it makes a difference. Other than that, I really don't take supplements.
Protein powder.
Believe in sorry.
Do you do protein powder?
Protein powder.
Or real food?
Not regularly. I struggle with it, finding one that I like the taste enough. It's funny that you mentioned, because I'm currently tasting like 3 or 4 different brands. I found one that was pretty good. I'm trying to eat my protein more than drinking. I'm not someone. I don't love smoothies and these type of things. I tend to eat more. I'm a person who'd rather eat the fruit than drink it. So, but I do. But at the same time, I think protein powder is an excellent supplement if you're not able to manage that kind of food intake, because a lot of women are just struggling eating enough food. So I think it's a great option. It's a safe option. There's nothing wrong with that. But other than that, I'm really not not set on anything, because I think it gets a little overwhelming. You start to read, well, you should take this, and then you should take this, and that. It's all over the place.
And you don't know what's working or
maybe
helping.
just a multivitamin for people if they feel like their diet is off, just to make sure they're hitting all their things. I mean, I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and meat and eggs and dairy and all. I feel like I've covered it, with just the foods.
What about hormones? Hormone therapy? Any?
So I'm not an expert on this. I personally did not take HRT and I've never done anything.
Wow.
And I know that many women and many friends of mine swear by it. I credit exercise with getting me through anything for menopause. But then again, menopause is lifelong. People don't realize that you're always in menopause. I mean, you have perimenopause. They say postmenopause, but actually it never stops. I credit it with the active lifestyle, because I think it prevented most of the problems that everyone was speaking about, kept it under control. I read a lot of things about HRT and people swear by it. So I think it's a very personal choice. I'm here to say, if you're someone who's thinking you have to, I'm here to say you don't. But again, I'm saying it's because of a lifestyle that I chose. And I think, again, the vitality that you get from feeling good, from feeling strong, is what everyone's, suffering with. They're like, I have no energy. I have no libido. I'm feeling, overweight. I'm feeling sluggish. If you go to the gym and you lift weights, it boosts your testosterone. It boosts the dopamine. You feel really good. I mean, you have all that extra energy. So for me, that's what worked.
Yeah, it just highlights the problems that we've already, if you've got all these things missing in your life and you're not doing them and you're not taking care of yourself, I think it just amplifies all of that. So
exactly.
For you didn't, you've been taking care of yourself. So.
Right. So, I mean, it's just, I didn't go through that because, again, I'm not struggling with those things. Hot flashes, I didn't really suffer through them. I mean, it's a little uncomfortable at night. But again, I'm not a big fan of taking things. I try not to. I'm a little more on the natural side. And again,
I think it's great to hear
what most women I see who are suffering, like I said, they start with energy, libido, weight gain, a lot of just feeling down. Their skin looks dull. All of these things. I'm like, okay, but it means are you active? Are you eating well? So you start to ask those questions and they're like, well, I'm tired, so I don't want to go to the gym. I'm like, but if you go to the gym, if you start working out, the energy is there. I mean, if you're tired at the end of the day when you need to go to sleep. It's a different tired. You get the energy from the exercise. I mean,
well,
I'm going to keep preaching about that forever.
Thank you. Please do. Thank you.
But I do think that it is a very individual experience.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. I'm only here to say if it's someone who doesn't want to take it, they shouldn't feel forced to. That's all. But I know women swear by it. I have many friends who are on testosterone, progesterone, they feel like a new person. It's going, everyone's unique. That's why I always say it's like, it goes back like a shampoo. It may not work for everyone. Yeah. But if you're someone who's on the fence about it, I want to, because it's now becoming that you have to take it.
There's so much pressure.
The narrative is, when are you starting? Why haven't you started? And that's what
and it's a fix-all.
I'm not sure that that's the right approach.
Yeah, and it's not a fix-all. It's going to help, but so is your lifestyle.
I think if you feel you're doing everything to make yourself feel, doing all the right things, and you're still struggling, of course you should look into other things. And this is we're all women, but we're all very unique. Yeah. There's so many factors that go in there. What worked for one may not work for another. But again, like I said, I'm just here to say, if you're thinking you don't want to do it, or you want to try to go without it, try this first.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, you can always go to your doctor and get what you need. That's okay.
So aside from like you personally, because you are a very fit person, and I know that you work hard to get and stay strong. You're trying new things, which is really wonderful to see. But are you fueled by your personal drive for health and fitness, or is there pressure from your agency or from modeling that makes you want to fit into a specific mold? Or is that just that's just Hillary and who you are?
Okay, so I'll answer two ways. Once you're what considered a classic or mature model, which is generally over 40, the requirements to be a certain size is off the is out. You're not forced to be a certain size. There still are height requirements, because again, you need to easily fit into clothing. It may not be a size 2 or 4, but you don't have to be so obsessive as the younger models do who are in bikinis and such. The health and fitness is for me. It has always been for me. I can't imagine my life without it. It is the single most important thing for aging. It is a non-negotiable. And I'm not considered model thin, even for any bookings. I'm definitely I'm slim, I'm fit, but I'm not what a lot of people in their minds think about, a model. That's just never been my body type, and I'm not going to try. I don't want to, I don't strive to be skinny. That's just not for me, and probably shouldn't be for most women, that's, unless that's just your natural body type.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be a forced thing.
And, the media just loves youth and loves that.
Sorry, you get the big eye roll for that one. Yes.
Yeah. We are on YouTube, but for those that are listening, yes, we're all rolling our eyes. But,
yes.
I don't know if you've felt it as I and many other women feel, that as we age, we do become more invisible. So how can we become less invisible? Maybe by having more representative advertising, for one.
Well, yes. First of all, I totally agree with you. I mean, we are in a very ageist society. Youth is the prize above all, when it should be health. And it's sad that women, as they're aging, are feeling invisible. I think it's really disappointing that that's how we view aging, and especially for women. My advice to them would be, stop comparing and stop competing with images that you see that are very often altered. I think everyone has their assets and I don't want to say flaws because that's just negative, but the parts of you that you're not as, thrilled about. And to learn to embrace the parts that you really are the best features, your best asset, and kind of play those up.
Mhm.
I hope that someone like me and others like me who are able to be representatives of brands and advertising helps them, because I say my brand because my look is 100% natural. That's my choice to show someone what it looks like to age naturally at 62 with absolutely um, no surgeries, no fillers, no Botox, because that's how I'm most comfortable. I'm not against it if that's what you want to do. But I think it would be great for women to see that, it's okay that our skin doesn't look the same as it did when we're 20. And all the creams and all the other things probably won't work. There's only so much that you can do. So I hope that this trend of showing some more mature models in advertising, on TV, will help women say, oh, that's okay. Even if we don't look the same, but it might inspire them to be just a little bit more confident and get these advertisers to stop pushing youth over everything. I mean,
And
it's just a downward spiral for women. It really is. It really is. And it's sad. It's very sad.
and you're on Instagram now, and I know that that's part of what you do for. That's another form of modeling and
Yes. Yes.
advertising, and
Instagram is a big part of my business. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So things have definitely changed, and now there are these different avenues that people can go that maybe aren't in fashion and beauty, but it is fashion and beauty, but on a different. Without, I don't know if you always, I guess you still have agency that you go through for those type
Yes.
things, yeah. So that's what about ladies that see you? Because I'm sure some of our listeners are going to see this on YouTube, or maybe they'll see this in our group and they'll say, man, she looks amazing. So, and to hear that you're not doing the Botox and the fillers and the surgeries, what is your secret is what I would be asking if I'm watching. That's what they're going to want to know is, how do you look so amazing without all those
Oh,
things?
that's okay. First, that's very kind of you. Thank you. But for me, when someone talks about, constantly seeking youth, I think they're really just seeking that vitality. Youthful women, youthful females are very vital. They have a certain glow, they have a certain vibrancy, regardless of, perfect or imperfect. And I just don't believe that you can get that through the outer cosmetic changes. It comes from being healthy and fit. And I will say this over and over and over again. Those women who start an exercise program and stick with it as a lifestyle choice will suddenly see their skin glowing. They're going to feel really confident. They're going to be sexy. They're going to be strong. They're going to feel empowered. Any size, whatever. But once you start feeling better inside, it shows outside. So no matter how many creams you use, no matter how many procedures you have, it's only the superficial part. But if you wake up not feeling good about your body, how are all of those things going to work? So for me, that's what I think is my secret to just having some energy, or like I said, some vitality, vibrancy that women seem to be seeking. And for me, it wasn't going to come from injecting things or surgeries or, some miracle cream or something. It's also just not a priority for me. I don't feel like just erasing my freckles, erasing my wrinkles is going to add that much of a change. Maybe it would, but I think you start with your face, then you're going to see it in your neck. You fix your neck, it's your chest, it's your boobs, it's your arms, I mean,
it keeps going.
You can't. You're chasing something that's impossible. I mean, I see now on social media, these women are having cosmetic surgery for their knees and for their feet because they're starting to look old. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is sad. It's really sad. Like,
where does it stop?
It doesn't,
Yeah.
so.
What
Yeah.
about
That
your
would be my
fitness?
first advice: is get your body healthy. There's no better feeling than, no one feels worse leaving a gym or a fitness class or
Mm.
something. You always feel good. There's nothing better than that post-workout, glow, and you'd see the difference in how you project yourself in society, more confident, more secure, because you just feel better. That's important.
What is your history, Hillary, as far as fitness? Can you walk us through, when did you start? How long have you been in fitness? What does that look like for you?
So, I mean, I've always been active, but I'd say that the dedication of day to day has been, oh wow, close to 30 years. I mean, since my son was born, when he started preschool, I started going to the gym in the morning. I do love group fitness. Although I do some training on my own, but again, I've been doing this a long time. I always encourage people who start to try a group fitness class, because sometimes going into a gym alone is a little intimidating. They're not sure about the machines if they don't have a trainer. But a group fitness class, you're first, just the concept, you're in a group. Everyone's there for the same reason. You usually meet people. Most people are kind of friendly, I mean, there's always some that aren't, but most are friendly, and you end up finding that support group. And suddenly, you looking forward to this class, looking forward to seeing this group in that class. It gets you started. And it's just important to realize that fitness it's a lifestyle choice. It's not a short-term fix. You shouldn't be setting a goal just to get into a specific outfit, or for a specific date. Just make the choice that this is going to become part of your life, and I think it does. Once you have that mindset right, that this is a lifestyle choice, you can't imagine not exercising every day or every other day. But again, it could be different things. It could be something outdoors, could be something indoors. I personally love the gym. There's nothing that I don't like in whether classes or training myself. I know a lot of women don't, but there's many options out there. And I'm coming from the age before the internet, so there was no online videos. There was no such working out at home. There was nothing to follow. Now you have so many options. There's almost no excuse. I just personally prefer not to do it alone. I'd rather be in a gym environment, because that just motivates me more. But I know for many women, the time factor, they would benefit and do very well from at home videos, or an online app or whatever. There's always a way to do it. You just have to get the mindset right to say, I'm making this commitment to myself for healthy aging. And that's key. That's really key.
So, fitness, you're getting no arguments from us. Of course,
Right.
we're big advocates.
I know that, talking to Shauna, who's like my idol.
Oh, well, thank you. But, a lot of people are going to, since you're coming from a modeling background as well, they're going to wonder, well, there's got to be all right, so she's exercising, but there's got to be some kind of magic food. What's she eating? Or is she
Okay.
eating? Is she starving herself? So we need
Oh, God.
to hear.
So definitely no to the starving. I have a very big appetite. I personally don't believe in eliminating foods as a dietary choice, unless it's a medical reason. I don't follow diets that have a name to it. I eat everything. I eat all food groups. I eat well. It's another thing, when you work out, you need to be sure that you're eating enough. Most women undereat, need to be getting enough protein every day. I don't track food. I don't weigh food. It's just a little too much for me to get that deep into it. But I think it's important that if you're exercising and you think that you're eating healthy, but yet you still see your clothes not fitting. I don't say the scale, but if you still feel that you're gaining weight, gaining fat, you're not being honest with yourself on your food. You should know why you're gaining weight. And again, I use my clothes more than I get on the scale. Either my jeans are super tight, and I can say, well, that week, that was a very indulgent week. And that's okay. again, because for me, it's a lifestyle. I don't have a goal to say August 1st, I need to be this weight. But, and weight fluctuation, I don't know, you guys are more experienced in this. For me, I think it's okay to go up and down a little bit. I'm not obsessive about it, but I know when it's too much. I mean, I don't think I want to gain more than 10 pounds over the course of a year, for no reason. I would know where it comes from, and I would know when I've just overindulged and maybe didn't pay attention enough. But it's a lifestyle, and you should be able to have the foods that you like. Portion control is key. That's another thing, especially here in the US. Everything is huge when you go out. Eating at home, you have much more control over it. But when I go out to eat, I will probably eat half and take the other half home. I will have some dessert. It's always shared. I did give up alcohol about a year and a half ago. No particular reason other than I just decided it didn't benefit me at all.
I was going to ask you about alcohol. That's a big one. Yeah.
I mean, I was not a big drinker at all, but I just decided it really served zero purpose. I never felt better after having it. It's empty calories. Some are considered poisons in your system. I don't miss it. I really don't. So that was something I just decided, let's see how that goes. I mean, I was so focused on, healthy and putting on more muscle and all of that. I'm like, okay, I'd rather eliminate that and just see how it goes. So for me, that was a big thing. I know for many people, it's very difficult. But again, if that's part of your lifestyle and that's what you really need, you need to control how much you have. And that you definitely need to monitor because that's a lot of empty calories. A lot. It adds up quick.
How have you done now that you've stopped alcohol? Have you noticed any changes?
I think it's a big change. I have if I drank and then I tend to work out in the morning, I would see my energy level much lower. So the more energy I have in the morning, the stronger my workout. The stronger my workout, the more muscle I build. The more muscle I build, the more fat I burn. So I said, okay. Yeah. This is it. Yeah, we're just eliminating that. I mean, the whole idea is fat burn. That's the goal.
Yeah,
more lean muscle, which is already a challenge to build. It gets more challenging as we get older, as you guys know. But it's not impossible. I mean, it does happen.
And that's one of those things that a lot of people are probably doing that they could change that would make a big difference.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's something, and again, it depends how many drinks you are having per week. Some it's a lot more than others, but it's one of those things that will definitely affect you. And I think for some women who are struggling with menopause issues, I've been told and I've read that alcohol plays a huge role in that in a negative way. Yeah. So that's sometimes something, rather than some other options for menopause, that could be something you might want to maybe not eliminate, go to cold turkey, but maybe you can really cut it down to, I don't know, whatever that number is. Well, I'm not an expert on that one.
I think the big thing is that you're just very intentional and aware, and you're making choices that make you feel good. And you don't food track because you have a good sense of what your body needs and what you feel good with. Right. But then and you're not using the scale, but you are using a tool to tell you when you've veered off track. You're putting on those genes. Yes. So for listeners, I'm an advocate for getting on the scale if that works for you, but I'm also an advocate of let's just try on the pants. When the pants
I think they're both. I like the combination of both. And I shouldn't say that I don't get on the scale. I do. I've also been trying to follow a strength building program. So I'm trying to put on muscle. So sometimes the scale going up is good as long as the body fat stays, and there's a lot of different reasons. And I might consider food tracking because, again, I think everything is just guessing isn't always enough.
Yeah.
So I'm always open to different things, but I think sometimes there's just so much information to give someone who's just starting out.
Yeah.
Again, doing it a long time. So, if you're just starting, you don't want to overwhelm everybody with information. But I always say, if your clothes start to not fit and you say, well, I'm exercising every day and I'm not, and I'm eating well, probably not. Either you're not exercising hard enough, or the food is probably, you're not really being honest with yourself in what you've been eating.
Yeah.
So because we all forget, oh yeah, I had that in between, or oh yeah, I had this drink or that. So I'm saying it adds up, as you know, it adds up quickly, really quickly.
Yeah. I think just an awareness is,
yes,
have an awareness. And so we just need to find a tool to create awareness. And if that's logging for
absolutely,
some, then that's great. So,
yes, absolutely. We're all different. I mean, everyone has to find their their way around that. Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, let's switch gears.
Sure.
Talk about your hair.
It's fabulous.
Yeah. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
We were talking a little bit about this before we got on, and your hair it's not your claim to fame, but it does make you look.
I mean, it's definitely a trademark. Yes, I mean, let's call it as it is.
Yeah.
So I started noticing grays in my late teens, because I had very, very. Because you're on video, you can still see I still have some like dark underneath.
Mm-hmm.
I had very dark hair, so I would start to see some grays in my late teens, and I probably was gray, really salt and pepper, in my 30s, and I never dyed my hair. I have just been various shades of gray since over 30 years. For me, it was just my hair color. I didn't equate it with anything else. I had dark hair and then I was going gray. Society viewed it as, oh my God, let me feel free to make negative comments to this lady on the street, and let me tell her how much better she'd be if she dyed her hair. Women can be so cruel. It's really sad. But for me, I guess I didn't equate it with getting older because I was so young. I was young with gray hair, and now with social media and seeing all the silver-haired ladies around the world, many have said that they've been gray since their 20s or 30s. And it's not really as uncommon as we think. We somehow think, oh, it's only old age, but actually you can get gray when you're young. It's a choice of whether you decide to keep it or not. And I understand hair for women is a very big deal. It's definitely not for everyone. I just wish it were more acceptable as it's just another color. Someone chooses to be a redhead or a brunette or a blonde or gray. It's just a color, but it causes so much drama. It's incredible. It's incredible. I'm glad that now I'm old enough that people have stopped telling me how much better I'd be if I dyed my hair. At least I don't get that anymore, but I endured like hell, honest to God.
I'm
years.
sure that people tell you now they love your hair. I'm sure that's the comment.
I mean, I get a lot of compliments. I always have men in particular will go out of their way to tell you, oh, I love it, and I wish my wife, my girlfriend, whatever. I guess they see it as they're okay with it. Women still are they either love it, but they'll always say, oh, but it's not for me. I won't be. I can't be that brave. I won't. It won't look good on me. And I say, you don't know until you try, but I'm not here to convince anyone what they should do to make themselves feel better. I just, like I said, I loved the fact that there's a lot of silver-haired ladies out there who are just showing it's a color. It's a color like anything else. I mean, you wouldn't go up to a blonde-haired woman and say, you'd be so much better if you had red hair. Never. But yet a gray-haired woman, it's like fair game. Let me go and tell her how much better she'd be. And you're thinking, wow, that's kind of rude.
Yeah. And then with Instagram now, the social media world, people, that's a whole nother world. And then you're putting yourself out there, and with all the products now, aging is like a cash cow. Shauna and I talk about this a lot. This is a cash cow. So I'm guessing that's a lot of the products that come your way. It's, this youthful or anti-aging. Do you see a lot of that? And how do you, how does that work for you?
So, I think very recently, and I'm going to say within the last year or two, there has been some backlash on this concept of anti-aging, and there are a lot of companies jumping on the pro-aging trend, which thankfully is a good trend, and I think we all can get behind that. I really would struggle. Let me backtrack. There's two roads of business for me. I'm agency represented as a model, so I might be the face of a company. It has no bearing on whether I personally use the product. But on my Instagram, if it says paid promotion, it is something that I believe in. I have a little more flexibility on who I promote and who I don't. So I personally would not want to promote a product that's anti-aging because I don't believe in it. I simply do not believe that a cream is going to erase my deep lines. It's not going to happen. My dermatologist will agree. He'll tell me that you can use whatever you want, but it's not going to change anything. I think that a lot of these anti-aging, and this is a tough one, but I think a lot of the creams and such that are promoted, even for mature skin, they're looking at women who have had work done. And if you've had a facelift or you have fillers or you have Botox and you use a cream, you're going to look great. It's going to be very smooth. But I challenge them to use those products on someone's skin like mine that has not had anything. And while certain products I do love, it's more about hydration. It's more about a glow. It's more about I want to say like an even tone that you look good, like your circulation is good. That's what I'm looking for. So if I find a product that I think does that for me, I will promote it. I'm not there to tell you, oh, I woke up and my skin was smoother, it was tighter. It's not going to happen. So I think women have to be very careful in who's promoting the product and if there's any work done before that's going to change the result.
And could you give us a window, since you are in that world and you do promote products as part of your job, as part of your work?
Right.
What can you just tell us a little bit behind the scenes of how that whole world works, just to educate listeners that are looking at these ads and looking at these influencers? How does it work?
So there are two ways. One of my agencies is who represents me handles those type of contracts and the companies that I work with. But in general, if you're out there on Instagram using certain hashtags, like let's say it's over 50 and fabulous, or 60 plus and amazing, whatever. Companies will reach out to you and say, we have these products that we'd love you to try in exchange for a review or perhaps a post. Some are paid, some are gifted. And they seek out women who they think would be a good representative. And again, the problem with that is, while we love to see mature women promoting it, if you as a consumer should just really feel like you're relating to the person that's selling it. Does their skin look similar to yours? If not, you're probably not going to have the same result. And again, or like I said, kind of search back into their Instagram profile. Are they promoting injectables? Are they promoting, did they have any type of facelift? Because again, that affects the results. And companies don't want to tell you that, but that's the reality. Same thing with hair products. Your best friend can tell you, oh my God, these products are amazing, but your hair is totally different. You're probably not going to have the same result as them. It might be good, but it's not going to be exactly the same. So it's like any form of advertising. I would do my due diligence, read some honest reviews on it. The influencers, I think influencers are great because they're more a cross section of the world or America. But still some are just constantly promoting product after product after product, and others are just, you can see from their page, they're more specific. They've really narrowed down the companies that they work with, and I think are more genuine in their promotion of it.
And one thing that just struck me when you were talking about how it works is it's not that the influencer finds this great product that they love and then they connect with the company. It's the company is seeing hashtags and they're like, yes, this one will work.
Yeah.
We'll send her product. And so it's a really backwards kind of thing that's just good for us to understand as consumers that this is how this works.
So there are some who, and again, if that's the case, you will find some influencers who will say, so I purchased this product on my own, or I found this on my own and I want to share it with you. And I would say those are the ones you really want to believe, because they're just out there giving you a review. But the ones who are paid, you do need to be careful. And I say that honestly, in what they're promoting. But there are plenty of people who are doing it and just saying, I found this, I want to share it, it's great. They very often put it up in their stories. It can be for anything. Oh, this is a great product, I loved it. Great. That's the best kind of advertising, as opposed to the other. But it's a business for everybody. So I would be cautious about all of these.
Well,
Yeah,
I
this
think
is
it's
big
just
business.
yeah, and it's important that we should all do a social media audit to
Yes.
really just follow and listen to the people that we resonate with, because our feed can be just so full of people that and messages that might not be productive for us.
Exactly. But at the same time, you can learn so much. You find out about new things, but it is important once you find out, say, oh, that sounded really interesting. Let me look into it before oh, here's this great supplement. Well, let's just, write it down. And
Yeah.
before you hit buy, like, let's see what it is. And
Yeah, a
same
little
thing for skincare or anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, or any kind of fact, because there's so much misinformation, and social media can be wonderful for disseminating information, but also misinformation. So
Yeah.
it's
It's very,
important to, do a
oh,
little bit
yes.
of digging on your own. So
Absolutely.
Can Can you share a little bit, Hillary, about your general, what you do on the normal as far as skincare, as far as hair care, because people want to know.
Okay. So I'm really simple. I'll start with hair. I have not seen a difference in using a very expensive hair product versus drugstore brand. For me personally, I'm fortunate that I'm given a lot of samples, a lot of different things to try. But I'm being honest, I have not seen a difference. So my takeaway on that is, you have to know your hair. Don't fall into the trap of, just because it's more expensive with this big name on it, that it's going to give you immediate results. I think this goes back to what I said from the beginning: being healthy, being fit, being active, it affects everything. Your hair will be healthier because it's going to grow quicker. I recommend everyone gets a regular trim. You can have very long hair over 60. I mean, I trim my hair, it stays bra length. I don't take any supplements particularly for it. So again, if you're eating well, your hair's going to grow well. I'd say stay away from very hot tools, a lot of, flat irons and curling irons. The more you take care of your hair is more important, I think, per se, than the cost of the shampoo and conditioner. But so having said that, I use very basic ones that I can buy in Target, shampoo, conditioner, and I try to just let it dry naturally as much as I can, and I will style it when I need to. But giving it a break is by far long term is better than anything. And as far as skincare, I'm not loyal to any particular brand. Again, I avoid ones that say retinol. I don't like that. I find it harsh on my skin. And again, I'm not trying to erase wrinkles. I also don't use anything that has vitamin C, because I live in Miami. We have a lot of sun. Even though I use sunblock, vitamin C makes your skin very, very sensitive to sun. I have natural freckles. I've never tried to change them. So I stick to products that are that are advertised as moisturizing, hydrating, gentle. I think that's really the key, because I work out every morning, so I have no makeup on. I'm generally makeup free most of the time. I like to put the moisturizer on, and that's it. I mean, wash my face with a very gentle cleanser. I never sleep with makeup, especially after work when there's a lot on. That's also really important. I would advise not to do that. If I had two key beauty things for getting older, I'm going to share those. One, I would invest in as often as needed, appointments with your dentist, because teeth show your age more than anything else. Having a dull yellow or just not good mouth hygiene is really, that's a very telling sign. Youth has very white teeth, and so I would invest in teeth whitening, either professional or over the counter. There's tons of products that work. And I swear by lash and eyebrow serum. There's many brands. I've had success with everything from Latisse, which is prescription, to ones that are over the counter. And I think that those things really make a difference in, again, aging. Your eyebrows tend to thin, your eyelashes tend to thin. Those products work. And that's sort of just a very natural way to refresh yourself. 2 little keys there, little tips.
Brilliant.
Great.
Well, I
Love
was
it.
going to ask to wrap up if you had. I love the 2 beauty keys. That's a bonus. That I was.
Yeah, those are easy. Those are
Yes.
non-invasive, very simple. All price ranges too.
Counter, like, or
Yes, absolutely. The
like,
over-the-counter works
available
fine.
to
Yes, for everybody at every budget. Yes, absolutely doable.
And if you had a wish for our listeners, what would it be?
My wish is to be kinder to yourself. Be kind. Be appreciative of how you are, of how you feel, and how you look. Just be kind. Don't be so harsh on yourself.
I really liked when in the interview you said, find something that you like about yourself and focus on that instead of the part that is less appealing. And I think as women, we tend to just focus on we target lock on the thing that we feel good about, and then
we get obsessive on it, and it's like that's all we see.
Miss the rest.
Mm-hmm.
It's like stop focusing on that one thing and look at the bigger picture. Like probably no one else is noticing that small thing. And I understand we're all human, where there's always something we'd like to improve or whatever, but stop focusing on it. There's so much more about you that you can, show the world and shine.
So my wish would be to focus on those positive aspects of yourself.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
positive aging.
My wish would be that we keep it simple and work from the inside out, take care of our fitness, and it doesn't sound like it's so complicated. We overthink it. So don't do that, ladies. Let's not do that. Thanks for listening. You'll find me, Allie, on Instagram at Allie Curve Fitness.
And you'll find me, Shauna, on Instagram at Shauna Kaminsky. Feel free to pop us a DM with questions and or feedback. If you're enjoying the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, please subscribe and share it with other health-minded women. Ratings and reviews are also much appreciated and help us get our message out to a larger audience.
Until next time, be healthy and be happy.